The Lantern is brought to you by Innovation Economy Banking at JP Morgan. I'm Matt Crane from MGMT Boston, and this is an episode of The Lantern. I have with us today Aniketh Mohanty from Wayfair. He is on the pricing team within CastleGate Forwarding. What is that? How does that translate within the broader Wayfair freight forwarding ecosystem? Let's talk about it.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Excited to be here. So I'm Aniketh. I work as a pricing and performance manager within CastleGate Forwarding. So brief primer on freight forwarding, which is an industry that's been here ever since humans have indulged in trade. So what is that, like 1600s? So it is quite literally the movement of boxes with physical things in them from one place of the world to another. What I work on is specifically the pricing of those boxes. So what they're known as is containers. And I am focused on developing strategies and solutions and coming up with pricing for containers in what is becoming an increasingly volatile freight forwarding market. Freight forwarding is the lifeblood of the supply chain today. And at CastleGate Forwarding, we're just focused on building efficient, simple solutions for all of our customers.
And what are some of those things that are going on inside your specific role within the broader CastleGate Forwarding team?
Yeah, for sure. So dial back a little bit, freight forwarding was part of the supply chain, but kind of this almost simple and non-volatile part of everyone's cost, right? So until 2019, people just knew what to expect. People knew what to pay for containers. And it wasn't really something that people spoke about. Since COVID, the global supply chain has been upended. We have officially lived in the upside down so long that we now think it's right side up. And I think since then, what's become very clear is that the supply chain is very overdue for both a tech transformation and a process transformation. So if I were to tell you that the price of a container can go up 3x within weeks, you'd assume I'm talking about crypto, right? But this is literally a physical box. So number one thing in my role is thinking about predictive pricing. So what can we do today to think about what will happen in the supply chain tomorrow and building our muscles and intelligence around, okay, these are the different scenarios that we have. This is what's going on in the world today. This is how an attack on a ship in the Red Sea will lead to a 2x increase in the prices to the East Coast, for example, so to the port of New York, right? So thinking about those types of scenarios and coming up with a pricing model that informs both our customers, but also informs our own P&L and our own financials is my ultimate goal. So that's one. And I think two is, in a situation like this where everything is so volatile, what customers really want to look at is transparency. So how do you provide more transparency, more visibility, and more optionality in an increasingly difficult world to operate in? So I think that's two, is building in a very commodity-focused world, building solutions that enable more optionality for our customers. And then three is thinking about predictive decision-making. So how do we get to tomorrow in a more manageable way? Looking at performance management aspects. So what are the products we need to build? How do we measure impact? What does return on our investment look like? So yeah, I think those three things are where I play, ultimately about building supply chains that are sustainable and profitable and work for both our customers and for us.
Amazing. And then how do you connect what you do in your role to what happens at Wayfair to what is even happening in the broader industry?
Yeah, I think where we fall is purely on the enablement side, right? So where we think we land is we're not only just sitting on Excel, building models, trying to be very fancy. What we want to do is build tools and products that work for our customers. So I think we sit right between sales and our procurement teams in building processes and building products that make sense. In terms of how it fits the wider Wayfair ecosystem, I like to think that we give our supplier partners a lot more optionality in building their supply chains. We give them more efficiency, we take out costs, and we enable them to be a part of the Wayfair ecosystem a lot earlier. So right from after they're done with manufacturing, as opposed to once they're already onshore and in the United States or anywhere else that Wayfair sells.
Awesome. And last, but certainly not least, what is your ask? How can the community help you? Anyone listening to this, whether they want to get more involved with freight forwarding, understand more about Wayfair, or help you in your role, what are some things they can do to help?
Yeah, I think one is let's talk about anything data analytics and AI. I think there's a lot of room for growth within this space. Freight forwarding has not really historically been a focus in some of the technological advancements, but there's a lot of low-hanging fruit as a result. So my ask is reach out. I am very excited to learn and excited to share about the use cases that freight forwarding has with respect to any technology that you're building out there today.
Amazing. Aniketh from Wayfair, Matt from MGMT Boston. This is The Lantern. We'll see you out there. This episode of The Lantern is brought to you by Innovation Economy Banking at JP Morgan. With JP Morgan's guidance, your startup can go from growing pains to growing without limits. With tech that powers your growth and bankers across the globe to help you disrupt every market, you can go from seed to IPO and beyond. JP Morgan, let's build your future together.